The experience and education requirements are similar to what it would be mostly in project management. But the main aspect here that we need to consider is that the program and project experience must be unique and non-overlapping. So you cannot say that, okay, I was doing a program at this time and also a project at this time. That would be an overlap. So your program management experience and the project management experience should not overlap when you are presenting it to PMI for PGMP certification. Now what you would look or how you would calculate your experience. So for your program management experience, you should include details on at least 2 projects associated with the program, because we would say not just one project. If it is executed, that will be a big project. It will not be a program. A primary contact is needed for each of your projects and a program, because if your application is selected for an audit, you will have to provide a validation from those contacts. If you are a recent PMP and now you are doing a PGMP, you will need to re-enter your PM experience as well. It is not that PMI would look at your PMP application and take it for your PGMP. No, you will have to re-enter whatever you have entered as a PM experience, as a project manager experience, even for PGMP. For your program management experience, you can go as back as 15 years. That means the maximum experience summary you can provide for PGMP certification would be something which you have done in last 15 years. You cannot go beyond that. The main point here again is having PMP is not mandatory to apply for PGMP. So many people have a notion that, okay, we would first need to do PMP and only then we can go for PGMP. No, if you are a program manager, if you are part of a program and you are already having an experience of a program manager, you can directly go for PGMP rather than going for PMP and then progressing for PGMP. So as part of verifying your experience, you should provide the program number if you have, for the then program title, your start and completion date, and your role, whether you are a contributor for the program, you are the program manager, you are the supervisor, whatever it is. Name of the contact who would validate. That can be your direct reportee or a program sponsor or a contractor if you are working for as a contractor or a consultant. It can be your peer as well. And you will have to provide email and phone number of that contact. So here one suggestion or best practice would be to provide personal email and phone number. So it's possible that you provide a office email and that person changes the organization while you are working on PGMP, because the process is a little longer. Now the key for your application to be accepted by PMI for PGMP is the experience summary. So as part of your experience summary, you will have 5 questions that you will need to answer on various domains. So you would have an option to answer the questions. So that you will have 2 options. You can select either of the options and provide an answer for that particular question. So the restriction here or limitation here is it would be a maximum of 350 words for each of the answer. So you will have to concisely put in and justify what you have done for that particular domain. So you will have different domains: strategy management, benefits realization. So for example, if you see in the second question on benefits realization, how you have defined and monitored benefits realization measurement criteria for the organization, or you have an option identified opportunities that result in optimized program benefits. So how you went beyond what was required as part of the program and optimize benefits for the program. Here, as part of your experience summary, primarily PMI is not looking for your process understanding. It's about what you have actually done in your career as a program manager. So they would look for facts and figures rather than processes to be put in as answers. So these are 5 domains, and you would have different answers that you will need to provide, like stakeholder engagement, how you have identified and analyzed program stakeholders, their influence on the program and what you did, or develop clear expectations and program acceptance criteria with the program stakeholders. So we'll need to provide clear examples of what you have done in this particular domain. Then comes governance, established and adapted program governance model, or you have identified and evaluated risks and their impact on the program objectives throughout the program. So you can, here primarily if you are talking about the second question, you might, list out the risks which were escalated to you by some component project as per your escalation model, and how you identified that particular risk to be impacting the whole program rather than just the project, and what you did as your mitigation plan for that particular risk. So you will have to list out 3 to 4 risks that you have identified and you have evaluated them, which were either escalated through project and how they could impact the whole program. Then program life cycle, how you have managed and optimized use of resources, whether it's human resources, materials, or your facilities, or even the funding across component projects, or managed and resolved program level issues escalated from the component projects. So the earlier one was about risks. Here we are talking about issues. Defining or answering these 5 questions is the key to acceptance of your application. So it's not like your PMP. If there are PMPs on this webinar, if for general public, if you are looking to do PMP, you would normally provide your experience summary first, and then it would go through an audit if it is selected, and PMI accepts, and then you pay the fee. This being a high-level certification, PGMP, as soon as you submit your initial application itself, you will have to pay the fee, and then your experience summary will be reviewed. So the